Cyber Simplified podcast, coming at you straight out of Austin, Texas. And now, your host, Tony DeGonia. Welcome to the 5-3 Zone by Cyber Simplified. I'm your host, Tony DeGonia. And today we're going to talk about this week in hacks and breaches. Cover a few hacks and breaches that have been made public this week. The first one being new ransomware spreading rapidly in China. That's affected about 100,000 PCs. Dell resets all customers' passwords after potential breach. Someone hacked 50,000 printers to promote PewDiePie YouTube channel. And 500 million Marriott guest records stolen in Starwood data breach. It's been a pretty busy week in cybersecurity and breaches and hacks. There's been a lot of folks out there that have been pretty doggone busy. So let's roll up our sleeves and get started here. We'll start off with news out of China. A new ransomware is spreading rapidly across China that has already affected more than 100,000 computers in the last 4 days as a result of a supply chain attack. The number of infected users is continuously increasing every hour. What's interesting, unlike almost every ransomware malware, the new virus doesn't demand ransom payments in Bitcoin. Instead, the attackers are asking victims to pay 110 won, nearly USD $16, in ransom through WeChat Pay, the payment feature offered by China's most popular messaging app. A supply chain attack. According to Chinese cybersecurity and antivirus firm Velvet Security, attackers added malicious code into the easy language programming software used by a large number of application developers. The maliciously modified programming software was designed to inject ransomware code into every application and software product compiled through it. Another example of a software supply chain attack to spread the virus rapidly. More than 100,000 Chinese users who installed any of the above listed infected applications, and there is an entire list, 3 rows, applications got their systems compromised. The ransomware encrypts all files on an infected system except files with GIF, EXE, and TMP extensions. Using stolen digital signatures to defend against antivirus programs, attackers sign their malware code with a trusted digital signature from Tencent Technologies and avoid encrypting data in some specific directories like Tencent Games, League of Legends, Temp, RTL, and Program. Once encrypted, the ransomware pops up a note asking users to pay 110 won to attackers' WeChat account within 3 days to receive the decryption key. If not paid within the displayed time, the malware threatens to delete the decryption key from its remote command and control server automatically. Besides encrypting user files, the ransomware also silently steals user login credentials for popular Chinese websites and social media accounts and sends them to a remote server. It gathers system information including CPU speed, screen resolution, network information, and a list of installed software. Poor ransomware has been cracked. Chinese cybersecurity researchers found that the ransomware has been poorly programmed and attackers lied about the encryption process. The ransomware note says users' files will be encrypted using DES encryption algorithm, but in reality it encrypts using a less secure XOR cipher and stores a copy of the decryption key on the victim's system itself in a folder at the following location, which is user/data/roaming/unname_1989/datafile/app_cfg.cfg. Using this information, the Velvet security team created and released a free ransomware decryption tool that can easily unlock encrypted files for victims without requiring them to pay any ransom. Researchers also managed to crack and accessed the attacker's command and control and MySQL database server and found thousands of stolen credentials stored on them. Who's behind the ransomware attack? Using publicly available information, researchers found a suspect named Luo, who is a software programmer by profession and developed applications like IC Resource Assistant and LC Classic Alarm version 1.1. Luo's QQ account number, mobile number, Alipay ID, and email IDs match the information researchers collected by following the attacker's WeChat account. After being notified of the threat, WeChat has also suspended the attacker's account on its service that was being used to receive the ransom payments. Velvet researchers have also informed Chinese law enforcement agencies with all available information for further investigation. And you can find this on the Cybersimplified website at www.cybersimplified.com, and on the rotator on the front of the page at the very top, you will see that will be the very first article that comes up. This article was curated from thehackernews.com, so you can also find the article there. Attribution is to Swati Khandelwal, and this article was written on December 4th, 2018. So I want to invite you to the site to check this out. Bringing news a little closer to home here in the United States, Dell experiences potential breach. Multinational computer company Dell disclosed Wednesday that its online electronics marketplace experienced a cybersecurity incident. Earlier this month, when an unknown group of hackers infiltrated its internal network. On November 9th, Dell detected and disrupted unauthorized activity on its network. Hackers were attempting to steal customer information, including their names, email addresses, and hashed passwords. According to the company, the initial investigation found no conclusive evidence that the hackers succeeded in extracting any information. However, as a countermeasure, Dell has reset passwords for all accounts on the Dell.com website, whether the data had been stolen or not. Dell did not share any information on how hackers managed to infiltrate its network in the first place or how many user accounts were affected. The company did confirm that payment information and social security numbers were not targeted. No impact on products or services. Credit card and other sensitive customer information was not targeted. The incident did not impact any Dell products or services, a Dell representative said. You are affected if you have ever created an online account on the Dell website to purchase any of their products or to access the online support. That essentially means everyone who's ever done anything with Dell was affected. Upon detection of the attempted extraction, Dell immediately implemented countermeasures and initiated an investigation. Dell also retained a digital forensics firm to conduct an independent investigation and has engaged law enforcement, the company said. We will give more details as they come available. This is about the extent of the information we have on this. But it is a good thing to know about. Dell sells, as you know, millions of computers and servers and networking and storage and other devices and software every year. If not billions, quite honestly. And, these are things that we need to know about. I know that I have used to be a Dell partner in a past life, and so I probably need to go in there and take care of business myself. And I would definitely advise you, the listener, to do the same, simply because, you should change your password regularly anyway. But it doesn't make a lot of sense to me why someone would go after this information if they weren't targeting any money-making information. For example, social security numbers, payment card information, that sort of thing. So, I'm not 100% sure on what they were going after. I do believe we'll find out in the days to come. And as soon as I find out, you guys will be notified. All right. So On to our next article here. This next article kind of gave me a little chuckle because just the extent that some people will go to for social media. Someone hacked 50,000 printers to promote PewDiePie YouTube channel. I think this might be getting out of hand just a little bit. This may sound crazy, but it's true. The war for most subscribed YouTube channel crown between T-Series and PewDiePie just took an interesting turn after a hacker hijacked more than 50,000 internet-connected printers worldwide, printing out flyers asking everyone to subscribe to the PewDiePie YouTube channel. PewDiePie, whose real name is Felix Kjellberg, is a famous YouTuber from Sweden. He is known for his game commentary and pranks and has had the most subscribers on YouTube since 2013. Oh, it's all around gaming as well. That's very interesting. However, the channel owned by Bollywood record label T-Series has been catching up in recent months. Both are now hovering around 72.5 million YouTube subscribers. From this fear that PewDiePie won't remain the number one most subscribed YouTuber in the world, an anonymous hacker, probably his diehard fan, with the Twitter username The Hacker Giraffe, came up with a hackish idea. The Hacker Giraffe scanned the internet to find a list of vulnerable printers with port 9100 open using Shodan, a search engine for internet-connected devices, and exploited them to spew out a message saying, PewDiePie is in trouble and he needs your help to defeat T-Series. PewDiePie is currently most subscribed channel on YouTube, is at stake of losing his position as the number one position by an Indian company called T-Series that simply uploads videos of Bollywood trailers and campaigns. And then the message urged hack victims to unsubscribe from T-Series channel and subscribe to PewDiePie instead. The hacker mainly uses an open source hacking toolkit to exploit vulnerable printers called Printer Exploitation Toolkit, or PRET. PRET was originally designed for testing printers against various known vulnerabilities, thus allowing attackers to capture or manipulate print jobs. Though it's a nice trick to raise cybersecurity awareness and the consequences of leaving vulnerable printers exposed online, law enforcement and InfoSec experts do not recommend other white hat hackers try such stunts. Spread the word with your friends about printers and printer security. This is actually a scary matter, the hacker tweeted. Believe it or not, even your fax number is literally enough for hackers to gain complete control over the printer, as well as possibly infiltrating the rest of your network connected to it. Earlier this year, someone hacked 50,000 printers to promote Pew-covered research, explaining vulnerabilities that were discovered in the communication protocols used in tens of thousands of fax machines globally. Well, the gap between the two channels is narrowing. Let's see if PewDiePie could win the crown of most followed YouTube channel again. Once again, we got this from the hackernews.com. It was written by Mohit Kumar. And you will find this as well on our main page at cybersimplified.com. You know, this is just some pretty good content to curate. And it's just amazing to me that people would do things like this. I mean, you know, I've been in cybersecurity for quite a while, and I've heard of and seen lots of stupid stuff happen. But this, it may or may not be criminal. I don't think it was criminal intent. I think it was stupid in intent. But, you know, we're talking about folks that spend most of their day watching video game, I don't even know what to say about this. I mean, it's just folks watching video game commentary from someone playing a video game, and things just get carried away. Fortunately, no one got hurt, although I'm sure it did freak out some people along the way. Sometimes truth is way more bizarre than fiction. So anyway, we're going to move on here in just a second to our next article. But first, we're going to have a word from our PSA customer, an announcement on the Veterans Crisis Line.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good. But I have a story, and I don't know where to start.
I'm good. But I feel alone in a crowd.
I'm good. But nobody understands.
I'm good, but the past keeps coming back.
But I can't get out of bed.
And I can't sleep.
I'm good, but I feel overwhelmed.
I'm good, but I don't feel safe.
But I don't even know who I am anymore.
But I still have nightmares. But I don't need any help.
I'm good, but I don't feel anything anymore.
I'm good, but I can't live like this anymore.
I'm really not so good. But are you ready to listen?
World's biggest hotel chain, Marriott International, today disclosed that unknown hackers compromised guest reservations database of its subsidiary Starwood Hotels. Hackers walked away with personal details of about 500 million guests. 500 million Marriott guest records stolen. Starwood Hotels and Resorts Worldwide was acquired by Marriott International for $13 billion in 2016. The brand includes St. Regis, Sheraton Hotels and Resorts, W Hotels, Westin Hotels and Resorts. It also includes Aloft Hotels, Tribute Portfolio, Element Hotels, Le Méridien Hotels and Resorts, the Luxury Collection, 4 Points by Sheraton, and Design Hotels. The incident is believed to be one of the largest data breaches in history, but behind 2016 Yahoo hacking, in which nearly 3 billion user accounts were stolen. The breach is believed to be one of the largest data breaches in history. The breach of Starwood properties has been happening since 2014, after an unauthorized party managed to gain unauthorized access to the Starwood's guest reservation database and has copied and encrypted the information. Marriott discovered the breach on September 8th of this year after it received an alert from an internal security tool regarding an attempt to access the Starwood guest reservation database in the United States. On November 19th, the investigation into the incident revealed that there was unauthorized access to the database. The database contained guest information relating to reservations at Starwood properties on or before September 10, 2018. The stolen hotel database contained sensitive personal information of nearly 327 million guests. This information includes their names, mailing addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, passport numbers, dates of birth, genders, arrival and departure information, reservation date, and communication preferences. What's worrisome, for some users, stolen data also includes payment card numbers and payment card expiration dates. But, according to Marriott, the payment card numbers were encrypted using Advanced Encryption Standard Encryption, AES 128. Attackers need two components to decrypt the payment card numbers, and at this point, Marriott has not been able to rule out the possibility that both were taken. The company has not finished identifying duplicate information in the database, but believes it contains information on up to approximately 500 million guests who made a reservation at a Starwood property, the company said in a statement. Notifications abound. Marriott confirmed that its investigation into the incident only identified unauthorized access to the separate Starwood network. It has also begun informing potential impacted customers of the security incident. The hotel company has begun notifying regulatory authorities and also informed law enforcement of the incident. Since the data breach falls under the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, rules, Marriott could face a maximum fine of £17 million, or 4% of its annual global revenue, whichever is higher, if found breaking any of these rules. This is the hack of all hacks. Now, what I would say about this is the repercussions of this hack will not fully be known for years to come. If you take a look and you do a little bit of math, you'll understand that the hackers in this case had access for 4 years. 4 years inside, having unfettered access into a major network without being caught. Now, I would ask a couple of questions at this point. The first question would be, what is Starwood's security posture for identifying indicators that a breach is occurring? And then I would ask, how did it happen? How did these guys, these hackers, get in? Something to understand is this was not the work of a single person. You have to figure that a database, the size of the database to hold 500 million user information. I mean, just to handle one user, I mean, there could be, databases upon databases of information. In my last role, I traveled, 3 to 4 days out of the week, every week, for a couple of years. And I stayed at Marriott primarily. I stayed at some of the Starwood hotels from time to time. Not that I'm terribly concerned with my information being in there, but I mean, just, flight schedules, just building a database large enough to store all that information. You got to figure that that's not a single database. That's a database across a large cloud-like environment, with probably hundreds, if not thousands, of servers comprising the network just to handle, this vast amount of data and the daily transactions that it takes, as people log in and make reservations and do all the things that they do for scheduling and, arrival times and things like that, right? So you're looking at a great deal of planning. You're looking at it's almost more than you can process to think about the scale of this. I'm going to call it a project. It's a hack, but it had to be taken on, I would imagine, almost like a project, a very large project, to say the least. I think with as transparent as Marriott has been, I really hate to see them pay the price, because they already paid $13 billion for Starwood, and they bought more than what they bargained for. I like Marriott. I like their hotels. I think they're a good organization. And, hacks happen sometimes. They just do. It's very difficult to know what nefarious actors are thinking or what they're planning on doing. And I don't feel like it is really Marriott's fault in this whole deal. I think there's a reason why Starwood was on the cell block, and this might be indicative of some of the things that were going on that caused them to be there for the Marriott acquisition to occur. I think this would be a very interesting hack to watch play out in the future, both from a political and business standpoint, as well as from a technical cybersecurity, information security standpoint, because I think there will be lessons to be learned on both fronts. So I invite you to come back regularly to www.cybersimplified.com, as we'll be watching for more news on this hack and publishing it as soon as we hear anything about it. So check it out. Like I said, it's www.cybersimplified.com. And with that, I want to thank you for joining us for this week's edition of This Week in Hacks and Breaches. We want to thank you for checking out the 5-3 Zone podcast. It's a brand new podcast by Cyber Simplified, and we're having a lot of fun making this, and we're really hoping to pick up a lot of traction, pick up new followers along the way. So tell your friends, tell your family. Anybody who will listen, let them know, check us out. And we want to thank you for visiting one last time. And now for our shameless tagline. Don't forget to cover that camera. Y'all have a great day. Hey, thanks for listening to the Cyber Simplified podcast. Check out our weekly updates. New podcasts and videos on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and of course we're always on www.cybersimplified.com. So until next time, stay cool and remember, cover that camera.